forget it. Shirt I can borrow. I want to get out of this uniform. Yeah, sure, no problem. Oh.
There are a lot of episodes on George Lopez where you honestly feel Carmen getting the short end of the deal, but I Only Have Eyes for You is perhaps the biggest example of this. Because in this episode, Max does something extremely creepy, super out of line. George barely punishes him. Carmen reacts out of anger, and somehow she ends up getting punished far more. And that is what makes this episode so frustrating. It's not that Carmen is perfect because, let's be honest, she's not. She clearly goes a little too far later on. But the reason she gets to the point is because when Max messes up, for George, it is literally just Max is a little boy. He doesn't know any better. But when Carmen messes up, she should have known better. She should have acted better. She should have been the mature one. Basically, she shouldn't have done what she did, and one can understand that, right? She is the older child, but why would you not teach the younger child to be better? I've always believed that if they are grown enough to be doing things, then they are grown enough to understand what they're doing. But anyways, that double standard is honestly why Carmen probably feels so unheard in this family. Before we get started, guys, thank you once again. I'm never going to stop saying thank you because seriously, it's a lot of progress we're making here. And I know that these videos are getting longer, but I know you guys enjoy these videos and it makes me feel good putting content out for you guys, helping you have a little escape for like 10 minutes of your day. And that's what I'm here for. Also, I hope you guys enjoy the haircut because, dude, I was looking raggedy over the last few weeks. Anyways, let's get on with the episode.
Okay, I'm here. Have you found Carmen yet?
No, and I'm worried sick. It's her first day at a new school. She should have been home an hour ago.
Come on, it's an hour. She's got no money. She's got no friends. She's probably walking around the mall crying.
So the episode starts with Carmen having her friend over. Her name is Olivia, and just like Carmen, she started school a little bit later in the year.
Dad, how come you're home?
Oh, your mom's worried that Carmen's not going to make any friends at Allendale and the kids are going to harass her like at her old school.
What if all the kids liked her and everything went great?
Angie's basically preparing because she knows Carmen has a lot of trouble making friends, but this part doesn't sit well with me.
Okay, let's say she did have a bad day. She's gonna come home, she's gonna tell us all her worries and all her fears. Isn't it better to let the hot dog on the stick people deal with the first 5 minutes of school hair, boys nobody likes?
Of course, immediately when Carmen and Olivia get there, Max takes a liking into Olivia.
Hi, I'm Max. Can I get you something to drink? What are you doing? She's a guest. I'll cook you things. You smell good. I bet bees chase you.
It could be honestly assumed that it's just innocent, right? It's a little boy seeing a pretty girl and he's gonna act a little bit crazy, right? But honestly, that's not the part that stood out to me. The part that stood out to me is how smart Max is in this scene.
And Carson City is the capital of Nevada. And Concord is the capital of New Hampshire. And Trenton is the capital of New Jersey, also known as the Garden State. I love you.
Now, once Carmen kicks Max out, the girls are gonna get dressed to, get more comfortable. Now, just as Olivia is about to take her shirt off, Max hears this through the wall, and dude, he gets that little Grinch smile.
Shirt I can borrow. I want to get out of this uniform. Yeah, sure, no problem. Oh.
So he obviously decides to be creepy, and I say obviously because let's be honest, George is kind of creepy himself. Max basically uses a peephole to spy through the wall and look at Olivia.
So, what do you think of my little brother? Oh, he's adorable. Yeah, too bad about his eye. What's wrong with his eye?
Of course, Carmen catches him and ends up spraying him in the eye. So before we proceed, right away, we get to see that Max is the one that started everything. He is the one that's invading privacy. He's the one that is crossing boundaries. He is doing something weird and wrong. Let's just be honest. If Max is old enough to think, ooh, I can probably look at Olivia in some type of way, I can look at something, you can definitely sit his little ass down and tell him, hey, dude, you're being freaking weird. You're being a little creep. Now, the reason Max acts this way is very simple. You see, once George steps in, the conversation stops being about what Max did and more about how Carmen reacted.
He was looking at Olivia through a peephole. He was watching her change until I sprayed him with the perfume.
That's not true.
Guys, I covered this episode a while ago, but I didn't have the visuals. I couldn't do it justice with just what I was saying. But this is exactly what happens here.
Then why are you covering your eye?
I'm just crying because I'm upset about being accused.
See, Carmen tells George what happened, and George asks Max. Right away, Max lies, but George calls him out because Max is only covering one eye.
But you're only crying out of one eye.
I'm not that upset.
I'm not lying, okay? The people's gotta be on that wall somewhere. See? There it is.
See, Max is saying that he's upset that Carmen is basically accusing him of stuff and that he's upset. See, even after finding that out, even after finding out that Max is lying about it, Max is being weird about it, I'm telling you, if Max is able to lie about what he was doing, you're already seeing a big red flag. But even after finding that out, George still goes easy on him.
Okay, Carmen, relax. You probably can't even see anything through it. Oh, hey, Olivia.
He basically just tells him, go wash your eye out, and that's that. You learn your lesson.
So what are you gonna do?
What did you see?
Nothing.
Okay, you know this is wrong, right? Okay, go wash out your eye. Vámonos. No, no.
That's it? Go wash your eye out?
Of course, Carmen has an issue with this and calls George out for this. George, instead of holding Max accountable, just basically treats it as boys will be boys. He's a little guy. He doesn't know any better.
Carmen, Max doesn't know any better. He's a little boy. But you could have blinded him. Who knows what's in that fruity teen perfume you wear?
But Carmen gets blamed for absolutely everything because she didn't have to spray him. George tells Carmen that she could have easily hurt him really bad and then grounds her for a week.
No, I wish I would have blinded him. That way he wouldn't be able to peek anymore, would he?
Okay, that's it. Nobody hurts anybody in this house. No telephone for you for a week.
What?
You heard me.
He was looking at my friend getting undressed and you're punishing me? That's crazy!
The moment where the whole episode's point becomes obvious.
Okay, you want more punishment? Keep talking.
Oh yeah, defend the little perv.
What is going on?
Max tried to see Olivia naked and Dad's punishing me. Some man you married.
Max does something wrong and George treats it as little dumb boy behavior. Carmen reacts and George treats it like she is the problem, and honestly, that is a double standard in a nutshell right there. And honestly, this is where Carmen's frustration feels kind of justified. You feel like you can understand this because how is it that you literally catch your little brother spying on you and your friend, and somehow you're the one that ends up getting in trouble? I think what's funny is that even when Angie calls him out, George realizes just how easy he went because he also lies about how he handled it.
I handled it. I told him it was wrong.
Well, I hope you also told him it was completely out of line and unacceptable behavior, and that peeking at someone is a violation of their privacy and shows a total lack of respect.
Yeah, like that, but stronger.
So now that Carmen feels like George is not on her side, she's not there to protect her, respect her, she decides to take justice into her own hands. So that evening, when Max is sleeping, Carmen decides to basically plant a picture. He puts a bunny in Max's arms, takes a picture of him, and just has an evil plot in her mind. Look, I'm not here to excuse Carmen, dude. That's honestly wrong. You're gonna hurt your little brother's reputation, but perhaps it's a wake-up call because no one at home is going to check Max. So yes, she's wrong, but you can kind of understand why she had to go this way. Now, while George is at work, he gets a phone call that Max got in a fight.
What hospital is he at? I'll be right there.
What is it?
They're taking Max to the hospital. He got into a fight at school.
A fight, too? Wow, when that kid's huevos drop, it's like thunder.
So Max basically got beaten up pretty good because they started teasing him over the bunny picture. Once again, George comes down on Carmen so hard.
Okay, come here. Look, this is the worst thing you've ever done. Your brother's in a hospital bed with stitches in his head because of you.
Just wanted to teach him a lesson. I didn't know he'd get hurt.
And granted, yes, this could have ended worse because Max did hit his head and it could have gone south super quick. But Carmen explains that she didn't mean for him to get hurt. She just wanted to teach him a lesson. This is honestly also another point that stands out for me because Max says probably one of the creepiest things possible.
Didn't sleep with the bunny. Carmen put it there. Everyone at school saw that picture. I'm gonna kill her.
Max, please.
No, I'm really gonna kill her. And Grandma told me how to make it look like an accident.
So George ends up basically punishing Carmen even more. And this is where Carmen snaps at George in yet another justifiable walk-off.
Okay, no phone, no email, and no TV for a month.
Why do I even talk to you? You always take Max aside. He's the golden child.
Hey, don't walk away from me.
Why? You don't need me. You've got Max. You love him more than you love me anyway.
We really are better off without her.
Now, the most important part of this episode comes later on when George finally admits that he was wrong. He basically tells Carmen that he understands why Max did what he did because he was also a boy at one point. Of course, he does leave out the part where he also peeped on someone, Ernie's mom.
I think Ernie'd like to hear that story. George, I forget. Who was that again?
You know, I don't remember. Back to work, Mom.
Well, who was it? Your mom.
So because George basically relates to Max, he lets him off the hook a lot more. He gives him more grace. He gives him more space to make mistakes. But with Carmen, because she feels like she's all feelings, emotions, drama, she just doesn't understand her anymore. And what sucks is that George flat out tells Angie and Benny that he likes Max a lot more.
She's a teenage girl. This is the worst part of her life. And Max is a 10-year-old boy without a care in the world. Of course you like him better.
So you do too? Now we can say it out loud.
Make that 3.
No!
And dude, that honestly explains so much more in how he treats her. So you can literally make the argument that yes, Carmen is a lot more problematic because she's a teenager. You know, I don't even want to be like stereotypical, but like, you know, she's a teenage girl. She's going through so much, right? But the fact that George admits that he likes Max more than Carmen, literally his behavior, it almost feels like intentional. It feels like he's doing everything on purpose because he just doesn't like how she is. So instead of trying to understand her, he just kind of doubles down like, whatever, I don't even like you anyways. But Max, that's my boy. So Carmen is not really mad because Max did not get punished. She's more mad because George doesn't hear her.
Well, I'm not a little boy or a little girl anymore. I'd like some privacy and I'd like some respect.
That's fair.
And I'd like my feelings listened to.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Why?
She feels like doesn't matter what happens, Max will just continue to get softer treatment than she ever will. See, I've covered this a few weeks ago when basically Carmen gets waved off by George when she was little. And you can see just the different treatment that Max gets instead of Carmen. Max gets heard a lot more. Max is communicated with more. He's given much more space to make mistakes and correct himself. But Carmen just gets punishment. It's almost as if she should have known better already, so I'm not even giving you second chances. By the end, George just fixed things and he apologizes to Carmen for how he went on about things.
And don't ever think I love Max more than I love you, because that's not right.
Okay.
It does not erase the fact that Carmen had to go through the whole episode feeling dismissed before George finally got it. Underneath the whole comedy, it's really just about how unfairly George treats Carmen compared to Max. And overall, this episode is one of those double standard episodes where George really shines. As always, guys, if you enjoy the content, let me know down below. I'm going to continue to put out videos like this for you guys so that you guys can just tune out for a few minutes of your day. If there is an episode that you guys want me to cover specifically, let me know down below. Also, if there is a show that you guys want me to cover specifically, let me know that as well because I'd be happy to. As long as I know the show, of course. Once again, thank you guys for your support. I will see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.
I could never pick. I love you both.
I'd save you.